With hope, there are possibilities, the chance to succeed, the chance to grow. At the Hope Institute for Children and Families, we know this. And with many of our success stories here at Hope, parents have already tried a number of different avenues to support their children, and they are looking for just that, hope. We want you to meet 3 of our success stories. Marissa has attended the day school for 6 years, Kyle, who joined the Hope family 8 years ago, and Elizabeth, who has been with Hope for 10 years. Their stories are our inspiration.
When she was 5.5 months old, she had a grand mal seizure. I had to call an ambulance. She spent a week in the hospital, and that's when she was diagnosed with tuberous sclerosis complex. It was hard because her seizures would come in series, and her medical needs and her sleep habits and her behaviors, and the older she got, the more intense they got. Elizabeth is nonverbal, and she has trouble expressing herself, and she would get frustrated, and so as her caregiver, I'm the one that took her aggressiveness. She could easily push me down, pinch, bite, and because I was her caregiver, I was the one that usually was the focus of her aggressiveness when she was frustrated.
Even before he was born, we knew there was a problem, and he was born 13 weeks premature, and he weighed 1 pound and 5 ounces, and the doctors cautioned us to be prepared for any number of disabilities, and unfortunately they came about, they came to be. When Kyle was first diagnosed with retinal detachment or blindness, we were absolutely determined that we were going to meet all his needs at home, between my husband and I, the local school district, and our extended family.
Like many families, parents of children with disabilities try to handle the care and needs of their child by themselves.
I adopted Marissa. I picked her up at the hospital when she was 2.5 weeks old. At the time I knew that she had Down syndrome, but she had no other diagnosis as then except for some medical issues. I am a special education teacher, so I felt strongly that I should be able to handle this. And I've taught children with Down syndrome, so I knew what to do with children with Down syndrome. But Marissa, at age 3, was exhibiting other behaviors that were not typical of children with Down syndrome. I was in denial. I didn't want to believe there was anything else, going on. Until age 6, when I finally decided that, I can't do this all on my own. Things are not exactly, how they should be. And at that point, we took her to the doctor, and she was diagnosed with autism. And then a year later, she was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome.
The parents of Marissa, Kyle, and Elizabeth all needed more support. That's when they came looking for hope.
All our lives were scheduled around Elizabeth. Her med requirements, her meals, her sleep habits. Our lives were scheduled around her schedule. And that's when I decided it's time I looked for outside help.
We definitely needed more help than what we could provide for him. Sometimes we would just give up and give in to what he wanted us to do for him, just out of concern for time. We just didn't have the patience. We knew that he needed 24-hour reinforcement, and he wasn't getting it from us. We could not maintain that kind of schedule. And he knew that I would give up sometime, and I would give in, and he held out for that.
And so I came to Hope and asked to visit and observe there, and knew right then this was exactly where Marissa needed to be.
And for Marissa, Kyle, and Elizabeth, hope is just the beginning.
I just knew that Elizabeth needed more than I could give her. I think her having a routine and a schedule, she wasn't as aggressive. She was more content. You can see it in her facial expressions and her behaviors, how happy she is. And she looks forward to the events. Her first prom, she come down the hallway in a long blue dress, and they had done her hair, and she had little flowers in her hair, and my little girl wasn't a little girl anymore. She was a beautiful young woman. I was so proud of her.
And he definitely is a teenager, and he is much more calm, much more sure of himself. He can tell us what he wants. He's just really, really progressed, and he's just a wonderful kid to be around. I hope that he'll be able to have a job and friends, and I know he's going to have a lot of family support. So the future looks a lot brighter than it did 19 years ago. When we came, we brought him to Hope. We found hope.
Every individual success here is a celebration for us.
How did Hope make a difference in Marissa's life? It has changed everything in Marissa's life. Now we go out in the community regularly. We've gone on extended family vacations. She functions at home. She functions places. She's able to express her feelings. It has changed everything in her life and mine. And because her behaviors have changed, my life has changed as well. I think one of her greatest accomplishments was being in the Style of Hope. And when we walked in, she was very distraught because she didn't know what she was getting into. When they called her name to go up and walk down the runway to do it, she did it. She walked down that runway, waving, blowing kisses to the people. I never in my life would have thought she would be able to do that, to accomplish that. And to see her do that was just magnificent. It is just a wonderful, wonderful accomplishment for her. It makes me so proud.
We are a team of educators, clinicians, and healthcare providers here to support children and their families. Together, we are one Hope. The mission of the Hope Institute is to help children and families realize progress for a more fulfilling life. If you would like more information, please feel free to reach us by phone or through our website.